Life with Liliana and Friends.
Happy New Year, everybody. We are just on the verge of 2022, and I know everyone must be excited. Thank you for making time. This conversation is part 2 of a conversation with Lavonne and Truna, and it has been amazing so far. And thank you guys again for making time. I'm really excited to get stuck into the next part of our conversation. Are you ready?
Always ready.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So, we left off the last conversation where you talked about philanthropy and the areas that you're giving back to in Fiji. Okay, and so I'd like to know a little bit more about investing. Could you share some of like really your heart in areas where you are investing in Fiji, and maybe speak to us about some of the challenges you might have faced while setting up and moving that part of yourselves into Fiji?
Like you said, Fiji, when we started, we decided that we were going to go back to Fiji and invest in Fiji. We were looking at areas on how do we highlight the skill set of what the Fiji people has brought. So we're looking at items that are eco-friendly as well as Fiji-made products, and that's something that we've gone into. And then also into real estate and investing in different dynamics of real estate, as well as ways we can find business opportunity, is investing into a business that might not have done well during the pandemic. And how do we help the individuals as well as how do we boost the economy? So really giving back and making sure that we're circulating. We as Fijians that are living overseas, is why wait for other expats to come in and invest in your country when you can do the same? You can take that, learn those lessons and the capital that you have made overseas and go back and generate, because the people in Fiji, they need that. We grew up Fiji was not an easy place to grow up, but we grew up and then we managed to get ourselves educated, go outside. But also we know that the financial resources is needed so that the other people or small businesses can thrive within the country.
Yeah, and give them that opportunity that may not happen within the country, So this is where Lavonne and I kind of go in with our investments and kind of see the need, and then we put money or capital in those businesses.
Yeah, and with that being said, some of the challenges that we were faced with in Fiji is honestly, that was opening a business account in Fiji, right? We had a lot of challenges with that. Even though we were Fiji citizens, we had a lot of challenges. And what we realized was it was the processes in place. And I can understand from the security side of things, of money laundering, they have these processes in place. But at the same time, what we were faced with, it took us almost 2 years just to open a business.
A business account as Fiji citizens.
And multiple trips to Fiji. But what we realized was that at some areas in the organization, they needed training, right? Processes are in place. You have your checklist, but also you need to train the people who's dealing with it how to appropriately escalate situations, because every situation may be a little different. Not everything is black and white. And that really, as leaders of our organization, is really important, that you need to train your staff, because you are as strong as your weakest link, right? And that's what every leader in any organization should really look at. And this is for also how do we help bring more investors that have the best interest of Fiji, when they come in to invest. Because trust me, when we come to invest, because yes, there's returns, but also we are looking at how do we benefit the Fijians? How do we improve not only the lifestyle, but also the environment, Fiji in itself, the ocean, right? So we're very passionate about that, right? Truna is always thinking of ideas on like if we make a product, it's supposed to be 100% recyclable. If it goes in, majority of the products get back into the ocean, how do we dissolve it? So it's like different ways and things on way we can improve on the products. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. You know, of recent times, I've been in some conversations that have been looking at the investors that we are allowing into Fiji, but then trying to balance that with the impact, because there's been not so good impacts on the environment and communities. And really, a lot of these communities are standing up and asking why. And then when you roll back, you see, okay, they were coming to, you know, bring in how many million US dollars into Fiji, but then somewhere along the line, you know, because I'm pretty sure we have the Fiji Investment Board, you know, that looks at some of these things, but somewhere along the line, there seems to be, you know, the ball dropped or something. And I guess it's also important for us to stand up and say, this is not okay. As well as, you know, when we do decide to invest, we're intentional. Like I'm hearing a lot of intentionality from you guys. And, you know, Trin, you've opened a boutique. Is your boutique open?
Yes, we did. We invested in this boutique. And again, that's harnessing, you know, like we said, Fiji is a honeypot of resources. And I think through COVID, a lot of people were very creative in what they created in Fiji with all that, nursing bombs, etc. So we were really fortunate to come across this and have a boutique that we can showcase all our Fiji talents, you know?
And we really, we also went into this boutique, but also the handoff we took from Stella Tico. And she had built a beautiful brand, and her vision and her mission behind it has helped us as well. And it has been a great partnership in the transition.
Yeah.
So I give kudos to Stella for being a young business person as well as making it work for the past 5 years. And then also we're coming in and introducing our new ideas and how we can expand on that. So we're super excited.
Very excited about
it. It's we're getting pet-friendly products as well, Christmas ornaments, and it's all handmade, so it's custom-made as well. So exciting things.
And so it's like, and you also like that's creating markets for these little businesses or those that have started producing things, isn't it? You know, it's the next step. Because it's always like, okay, level up, and we got here, okay, what's the next level? And I really love that you guys have been able to come alongside some of these entrepreneurs. So thank you for that. That's exciting.
Yeah, and it's giving them that space because not a lot of people can afford to be in a shop or, you know, just giving them a different platform to sell their products, you know?
Yeah.
So we're going to take another quick break, but we are going to come back and talk about the two of you and your partnership, your love partnership. I'm looking forward to that. So viewers, I will see you shortly. We'll be right back.
Life with Liliana and Friends. Life with Liliana and Friends.
Welcome back. So we're still on our conversation with Von and Trin. Guys, I have to say this. You know, one of the many, many things I really admire about you guys is how much you honor each other. I see you complimenting each other all the time. I also love how you just love on each other. You know, it's so beautiful to see. And quite frankly, I haven't seen anything like it. Now, I really want to understand. I've always wondered about this. Being a married gay couple, right, is not common at all for Fijians. And I wonder to myself, do you find it any different being a gay married couple in Fiji than you do in the US?
To be honest, Liliana, Truna and I have been fortunate enough where we have not been treated any differently. And I think partly the reason of that is, one is we're not attached to labels. We're just Trina and Von, right?
And we're known as Trina and Von to everybody.
And we're known as Trina and Von to everybody. And so for us is like we let ourselves and our love for each other, let it flow organically, right? There's no pressure in people trying to understand us. We don't, what we see is for ourselves is we're our own person. And so the world, we are not measured by society. And in that sense, so we live our lives very organically. And so I think in that way, it has made people a lot more comfortable because they don't see us any different, right?
They don't see us any different. It's not like we're shoving it in their faces or anything. We're just being us.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, allowing us to be our authentic selves in whatever settings we may be in. We've traveled quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we've never been treated any differently at all.
Yeah, whether it's in Fiji, Australia, New Zealand, the States, the treatment has been pretty much the same. It's Truna and Lavonne. There's no judgment. We can sit, have conversations with people. And I think one of the lessons that we can share with young people going through coming up, and it's okay to be different. It's okay, but the thing is, you have to be okay with yourself, right?
Yeah, that's good.
And it's not society. It's not. I know sometimes we let the opinions of society get the best of you, but at the end of the day,
Or family and culture.
But at the end of the day, it's your life. It's how you see yourself in the mirror, and you're beautiful. You deserve love like anybody else, and I think Truna and I have learned that at a very young age, and we have also taken that with us as we have grown up. We're enough for ourselves individually, and therefore we have time, we have room where Truna and I can share each other's love, right? Our love's not perfect. We have disagreements like any other couple, but it's how do we come, and there's forgiveness, there's complete forgiveness. There's no resentment. That was yesterday, that happened yesterday.
We move on.
We move on, right? But when I'm at my weakest, she's at her strongest. And when she's at her strongest weakness, I'm at my strongest, you know? She's always strong, that's why. I just hang on. Like a lot of people, they misjudge us and they're asking, hey, Yvonne, what are you doing? And like half the time, it's Truna who's actually carrying the weight. I'm just following through.
And the silent partner behind her.
Yeah, I like that. You know, I like how you mentioned, because, you know, sometimes when you meet gay couples, you're not really sure how to behave. I know, it's just because in our heads, it's just, you know, it's something different, and we're not sure what to say, that we're open. But with you guys, and you mentioned this, it's like sometimes we tend to make people uncomfortable ourselves. But when you're just operating like, you know, we're just Truna and Lavonne, and it's Truna and Lavonne. And so nobody even, isn't it amazing just how much the behavior of you just overflows? It really overflows. Yes. And I remember saying to somebody, like, when you are sure about yourself and when you speak with confidence and conviction, the other person just receives it. And you mentioned too, it's like an overflow of your love that just kind of fills all the space around you. That's so fascinating. Is there anything, I think, along your journey, I think this is a great time to, and you touched on it, Vaughn, but again, thinking about those that are younger, that those are coming through this, on this, maybe a similar journey to yourselves, they're gay and kind of in an environment that's not so accepting. You talked about, you know, being okay with who you are. How do you kind of get to that place of, you know, because I'm hearing you just need to own it, make your decision and own it. What sort of, maybe a practical tip or something that you can share with someone else on that same journey? Can you think of anything?
I think from my experience and what I could live with people, and maybe they could learn from my experiences, you find a way to be okay with who you are. And practically is like, if you see yourself and say, even if you have to look in the mirror and say, you're amazing. You were chosen to be here. You were chosen to be different. And you know what? You are going to bring something different to the world. Mm-hmm. And your light is going to shine through. So, because there's a reason why you were born like that. And that reason was you are going to bring something different and beautiful to the world. And how do you reflect that light for others to enjoy, but also be empowered so that they can shine their light? And I think that's...
And I think it's not allowing, again, you know, societal norms to get to you, culture to have that part of you taken away, because it kind of strips all those outside noise, kind of strips you away. It's allowing your luminosity to shine and being yourself.
And it's okay if people don't understand. It's okay if people disagree. You can't control what other people do. You can't control, because people they grow up in different environments, they have different learned behaviors, and they have different challenges that they went through. And it's okay. It's how do you respond to it? And how you respond to it is, I'm okay with that because I am me and I love myself and I'm going to move forward with my life and I'm going to let my light shine. I think that would be the biggest piece that we would love to share with the young people.
Thank you for sharing that with us. It's just, you know, when you talk about it like that, it sounds so simple. But really, it's basically make your mind up for yourself, own it, and it's okay. I mean, even those who are, you know, not gay, people don't like them and people judge. So whatever it is, and I like that, you know, I actually don't like saying that word because, like you said, labels. I don't like that we label people that way. I mean, we're all human beings in this place, and I don't know. I'm not very comfortable, not with partnership, but with tagging it a name, just makes like it doesn't sit right. But thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for that, because I know someone would have heard it today and it would have helped them. But we're going to come back into the last section of our show very shortly, and it's perfect because it's New Year's and we're going to wrap it up with some more gems. So I will see you back in a couple of minutes.
Life with Liliana and Friends. Life with Liliana and Friends.
Welcome back to this great conversation with Truna and Lavonne. And then thank you guys again for sharing your heart, for just giving us all these little gems that you've collected over the years. And you know, we're on January 1st now, right? Everybody, most of the people are ready to make some resolutions. And so you've talked a lot about goals, okay? Forget the expectations, let's set some goals. So I was wondering whether you could share with us, how do you walk through your goal setting process?
We have a wonderful tradition that we do every start of the year, like
at New Year's
Eve. We sit as a family, and we had our nephew here join us for a few years. He had been with us for 5 years. We introduced him to that tradition, and what we do is...
We've been doing it for 12 years now?
12 years. And we write down all our goals that we want for the year.
So we have a jar, and in this jar, the jar is labeled Hopes and Dreams. And it's got Truna and Lavonne on the top, and we've got this jar, and then so New Year's Eve, we would all sit down and we would write our goals for the year, like Truna said. And then once we're done, we'll fold it and we'll drop it in. Come the next year, New Year's Eve, we'll do the same, but we will not touch that jar. And then we will open up
what we had written the previous year.
What we had written the previous year, and we would cross out everything. And then as we started doing that, we noticed that the next year, we were crossing out a lot of things, and majority of it, like 90% of the things that we had on the list. So, and the things that we didn't accomplish, we would put as a work in progress, and we would move it to the next year.
Along with our new goals.
And we also had noticed that we had to be specific in exactly what we had wanted and what our goals were. So we would list it out, and a year later, we would cross out 90% of the things we've done. But also, what we have also learned is that we had to have goals. Instead of just for 12 months, we had to have daily goals. So in the morning, what we do is we set our intention for the day. So first thing in the morning, we will write the things we want to achieve for the day. It's not only a checklist, it's an intention list, what we would like to achieve for work, and then also the behaviors that we would like to change. at the end of the day, we would do a reflection. So looking back and see what we actually accomplished, and then also, did we change those bad habits? Because every day you're working on yourself. So
Wonderful.
like procrastination.
And then just, eliminating those bad habits and replacing them with better habits.
So so the goals were, we do a yearly one, and then we have our goals every day from the morning till the evening. There needs to be a reflection as well. So that's what we're doing for goals. And for those who are doing 2022, there's a lot to achieve.
Yes.
Awesome. So can you give us an example, like what might one, because you said they are specific, what might one of these goals look like that you put into the jar?
Well, we start from when we first, put together the jar. And it took us years to work to this. But Lavonne had cut out a house and what the house looked like. And in that house, she did like this other thing. It's like a walk-in closet. And I love shoes. So she did like all these shoes.
So I dropped a pair of like a little, what do you call this?
I don't know. It was like one of those little shoe things. And she just chucked it in there. And in it, she had written like, you're going to have a wardrobe full of shoes. And, and it took us years to get there, but we did. And, just looking, sometimes when we go back and we look through those goals and we're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we get to check most of these out.
Yeah. And then besides from the worldly things, it was like things we wanted to achieve for ourselves and making sure we're content in what we're doing.
Yes.
One of our goals was to work together.
And
because at one stage in our life, when, we faced this hardship, I had to work for a whole year. I was working...
We were 1 year apart.
1 year apart. But one of the main goals was always to work together. And today we work together.
We've been working together for years. And just different things. But you need to be specific on what you want and how you want to achieve it. But it's not only what you want, but what are you going to use it for?
Right. That's good. So what about, daily, because you said you write what you want to achieve. It's not a checklist, and you set the intention. Do you mind just giving us an example of what that might look like? How is that different from a checklist?
Say, for instance, I like working under pressure, which is not a good thing, which means I leave a lot of things last minute. So how do I plan better? Right? How did I change the way I spoke to Truna that she would feel a lot better in some of the situations? Right. How do we empower? So different things like empower my employees to think above and beyond, or also the other one could be like the simple things in addressing some of the specific anxiety and completing the task at hand, but doing it really well. Did I do it 100%? Am I confident that was done at 100%? Changing my bad behaviors on leaving my shoes in the front when I'm supposed to take it. Simple things, right? But changing those habits. Or not leaving keys in my pocket. Make sure it's in the key in the drawer. So
it's creating the new habits.
Creating the new habit.
I love that. And isn't it so important to take it out of here and write it down? There's so much power in that, right?
I'm big in writing lists and structuring my day according to those lists. But sometimes things happen out of that, and I have to learn to adapt to the day. So, but I know Lavonne, when I'm working with Lavonne, I know she likes to work and, work under pressure and everything. But
work in chaos.
She's learned some of the structures that I've put in place.
Yes.
And I learned some of how to be better under pressure.
Yes. I really like that whole concept of, what you want to achieve. And I was working last week with some people, and we were talking about outcomes versus outputs, which is the same thing. Because what you're doing all of these for is so that you can achieve an outcome, which is a change of behavior, or, someone has a better life. And we get so caught up in lists. I'm guilty of that. I'm like, I feel good because my list of 10 has been done, but really, what have I achieved? What was the outcome? What change have I made? Who have I inspired today? Just before, we're going to have to finish off again soon. I hate this. I hate these time constraints. You talked about being unlimited. Well, we are not unlimited on this show. Unfortunately, there is a limit. But I wanted to ask just one more thing. Now, as you do that in the New Year's, how do you kind of, in addition to daily intentions, how do you kind of keep track of what you put in there? Do you have a media kind of process for doing things, or do you just do the 1 year and then a daily intention setting exercise?
We do the 1 year, and then we do the daily intentions between us. But the yearly thing is it's our bigger goals that we want to accomplish.
Yes.
And the daily ones are just things that we want to, fix or
improve on. Because the thing is, tomorrow is never promised, right? We might not get the next year to write our list, so we write it on the day off. So that's the concept that we have. You live only once, and you never know if the sun rises tomorrow again. So we write that for a daily. Now the yearly one is a year reflection, and not only that, we also go back a couple of years and we see how our mindset have changed. 5 years ago, our goals had totally changed from what it was, and then we look back. It's amazing. Like even with my nephew as well, his goals has changed like in the last 2 years because he's younger and he was thinking differently. And so we've seen ourselves evolve and grow, right? Sometimes we still need that improvement, but it gives you a benchmark. It's like a coach watching a team. The daily one is like making notes. How do I improve every time? Okay, like you need a closer watch. You can't do just a year. You need to do a daily one so that you can make that adjustment. Come the end of the year, there's been a major improvement. If there hasn't been, then those dailies need to change.
Right. I love that. I learned something new from you guys today, just that daily intention setting. So I do it a little differently, but I love how, and it has to be daily. You can't wait 6 months before, like, let's see how we're doing with our goals, because it doesn't work like that. It's an everyday intentional process, right?
And the thing too is what we have learned from our experience as well is like your mind, your thinking can be muddy water. So you need to, when you're sitting down and you're writing that daily, and then you do meditation before that, or you settle yourself, you do your prayers, and then you go into that. You settle, you're steady, and so it settles that. It clears the mind. It clears your mind. Then you write your intentions, and then you go through the day. So not everything is just a reaction, because what we tend to do is we react toward conjulife. But if you set your priorities, you are working to the good of it,
Absolutely.
So that's really the mindset that we have.
Man, you guys, thank you so much for everything you shared. I really do wish we had more time to go through it, but I wanted to thank you for making time. I know that you're very busy looking for opportunities, but this has been a great opportunity for us to just hear your heart. And I know for sure that there are people that have received what you've imparted to us today, but I just wanted to thank you for everything you guys are doing. I said it before and I will say it again, you are one of the most beautiful couples I've ever met. I'm very inspired by everything you do. I always learn new things when we spoke, but just thank you for your heart for others, and especially just bringing that back to Fiji. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Liliana, for having us and creating this beautiful platform. You yourself have inspired us, and what you're doing for everybody else, the viewers, we're inspired by you and your action, and we need more people like you to speak for Fijians, and also just give give them a different lens of what's there. There's so much to achieve, and thank you for doing that and allowing us on the show.
Have a wonderful new year.
2022, yeah.
Yes, 2022. Thank you guys. And thank you viewers for joining us. I hope that helps you. Go and grab your pen and your book. If you want to do the same style, get a jar or maybe a carton or whatever you have, and let's do it. Let's make this year better. Let's make better choices. You have a great New Year's Day, and I will see you next Saturday, same time, same place. Vinaka.
Life with Liliana and Friends.